welcome in. Is that your phone, Aaron?
Yeah, why?
Oh, because it's just static in the background. Anyways, it's not a big deal. I was like, what is that noise? Yeah, we're hosting.
Oh no, I'm in my backup. My kid's in the main room here, so I'm in the backup. What you're hearing is the old ass computer that I run as a backup.
Nice.
That's the humming of what a 1990s computer sounds like. That's what that is.
That's fantastic. But as you can tell, we're doing a rookie Superflex tight end premium mock draft on a fun Sunday night. Figure, it's a fun day to throw one of our last ones out there before we get into the NFL draft. So it's an exciting time. We'll see how it goes. We got it all queued up here. And yeah, we're about to kick this off in a second. What's your strategy overall? Like in the spot you're at, 101, obviously, I mean, your player is the 101, but like what are you looking to do with the team building perspective?
I'm gonna take value. That's what's gonna happen. The value I find at this spot, the 101, falls to you. You get the best. Obviously, you're gonna get the best player in the draft, whoever you think it is, and then you are going to just follow the value after that. And that's kind of my theory.
Excellent. That's the way to go.
Well, and I am going to completely offset everything I just said in taking the value, and I'm going to take my quarterback one, who is not the value, but yeah, he is. There we go.
No. Oh, Jaden Daniels getting spicy out of the gate. So why? Let's hit on this one a little bit. Why Jaden Daniels over, say, Caleb or JJ McCarthy right out the gate?
JJ's my 2, Caleb's my 3. The rushing upside for Jaden Daniels is just insane. And when I did my lab scores, which is kind of a blend of a bunch of different athleticism scores, he's out of all I think I've done 100 or so prospects into my little thing. He's the only one so far on offense or defense who's perfect. So assuming he gets a top 10 pick, he will be a perfect prospect. And the next closest was an 83 in JJ and Caleb. So it's just the athleticism, the rushing upside. I just think he's perfect. So
are you not worried about his late breakout in his college career? Like year 5 was the breakout. Does that scare you at all with your prospect profiles, or is that just kind of just like we take it whenever he breaks out?
Yeah, no, I don't love it. But as far as quarterback, that's not something. The late breakout, early declare thing, that's not something I weigh as heavily at quarterback. That's something I hammer more for the wide receivers and running backs. Quarterback and tight end tend to be a little more later developing for me, so I punish him less for that. So actually, I didn't punish him at all for it, really.
Yeah, perfect. No, 100%. So interestingly enough, like Marvin Harrison goes 102. So Gingerbread sitting at 103, probably thinking he got a gift. The consensus 101, Caleb Williams falls to him. It's a tight end premium, so Brock Bowers 104. I have no problems with that. Drake May goes 105, which is pick your poison in that range. Now it gets interesting for me because I am such a huge Rome Odunze. He's my wide receiver 2 in the first tier. I know people are thinking like I'm going to go Malik Neighbors. I think Malik Neighbors is a fantastic player, but he's not my wide receiver 2. It's Rome Odunze. So I'm going to take Rome Odunze just because I think he's a better plug and play, could fit into any offense. You don't have to scheme up anything for him. Like he's a guy that could just consistently win. So I'm going to take Rome Odunze here and let Matt, our coach scouts, decide at 107 what he wants to do for that.
Yeah, that's the lovely part about these drafts. I don't find, I've got a lot of home league drafts where I find they just go by consensus, but some of these ones where you have people in the industry, they just go with their guys. So
yeah,
you see a little Caleb Williams falling at 3. I was discussing that with a friend from work, and the 101 in his draft is Marvin Harrison, and he wants to take Malik Neighbors, which is going to leave the QB needy team at 103, a gift of Caleb Williams, but it is what it is.
Yep. Because I've had people reach out to me a bunch of times where they're like, hey, I don't need QB. Should I trade down? I'm like, yeah, if you can trade down. They're like, well, I can't. I'm like, okay, then just take the wide receiver. You don't.
I don't. I'm a big fan of. I know it's tough to trade sometimes, but especially at quarterback and Superflex, I'll just draft him, and I know at some point I'm going to be able to trade that player. Yeah. I know everyone says, and I've said it myself. Oh, this league you just can't trade. It's Superflex. You can always trade a quarterback. You should just wait.
Trade, yes. Oh, we got timeout. Let's not break for DBK. Auto picks from JJ McCarthy. Not the worst thing in the world. And then we get the trio of wide receivers, and that's basically the 1 and 9 plus. It's a tier to like forever, it feels like, right? It's pick your wide receiver choice. Basically a bunch of X wide receivers in the fastest man on the planet, Xavier Worthy. So, that seems kind of consensus. And then we get McConkey. And then back to you. So, sitting at 201, are you going to take the running back, the wide receiver?
You want to pause and recap, or do you want me to?
Let's pause it real quick. We're going to pause and recap this first round here, folks. So, all right. So, looking at this board, what stands out to you the most in the first round?
Just that the top 8 went the usual way, but they went they went the same top 8, just a different order. Neighbors fell really far. Daniels went higher because I took him higher. Bowers
Mm-hmm.
went higher than I'm comfortable with him. I don't want Bowers for me is always my 8th pick here. I take him at the 108, and that's the earliest I'm taking him. I really don't want him there. Adunze and Neighbors actually are a good value, but everything else is pretty standard. We get to 109, it's choose your own adventure with receiver. Lad
Okay.
McConkey getting into the first round is interesting. My lab scores were lower on him. He just profiles to be a Hunter Renfro type. So I thought we might see a running back sneak in. We did not. So I thought, naturally, I was thinking I was going to take one of my top running backs. I think I have Jonathan Brooks as the RB1, but I've been taking Trey
Yeah.
Benson over him just because I have them close, but Benson's the healthy one for sure. Having said that, that's not going to be my pick here because my wide receiver 4 is still on the board, and that's who I'm
Ooh.
going to take when you unpause it. But feel free to break that down yourself before you unpause it.
Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head with round one, right? It's like obviously Caleb is most times not going to fall 103. That can be the gift with how talented these top 7 picks are. Well, you'll see this kind of fluctuate. It's just basically pick your choice. You want to go the wide receivers early because in a lot of these super flex drafts, it's hard for those quarterbacks to really be elite players in super flex. So if you want to go the wide receiver and chase the upside of that, like I totally get it. But yeah, it seems pretty locked in 108. That seems pretty standard. Like we'll mix around. Then it's the wide receivers. There's going to be a glut of them, and it's just like you're talking about with the running backs. When's that first one going to come up? So I'm going to kick it back off to you, and you could let us know the player taking it 2-1.
Honestly, the first running back would have came here for me if Lad McConkey had been the pick I thought it should be.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, everyone's decided they hate Troy Franklin. I get it, he's not a perfect prospect, but Troy Franklin should not see the second round. So I will pass on what would have been an RB selection in favor of Troy Franklin, and I'm just going to take the value. Like I said, I passed on the value to go with my guy in round 1, but I think the value fell here. I don't know if he's better than the group of Thomas, Worthy, Mitchell, McConkey, but he certainly belongs in that group. I have him at the front of that group, so I'll take him there when I get him at the back of the group, and we'll move on.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. And I mean, like you're talking about right here, we see the running backs kind of go where people are like, all right, I'm taking my guy. Keon Coleman's really interesting. I know Pat is like was talking about him. He's higher on him than a lot of people on our show last week. And then you get to Penix, and it's like, yeah, if he's around one guy, which who knows, maybe the Raiders are crazy enough to pull that trigger, he goes there. And it kind of happens. Yeah, my guy who I would have taken just went in front of me. That's Jonathan Brooks. He's the clear RB1. He's
I
kind
think
of
you're going to
discounted.
take who I want here, though, is what I think you're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually like a lot of these guys. Like if I'm
I
taking
have
a running,
two that I want. Two that
yeah,
I want.
the 2 running backs I would be deciding between here are Marshawn Lloyd
Yeah,
and Blake
yeah.
Corum. Like I could
Oh,
do that.
it's Wright and Lloyd for me. Those are the two I want.
God, Wright scares the hell out of me, man. I think he's good, but I just need to see a little bit more from him. The guy who I actually think I should take here is Ricky Pearsall, and this is a guy that I'm like super high on. So I could play the value game, but
Pick
I'm just take the
soon.
guy. Pearsall's like the guy I'm highest on of this group of players. So like he's my guy that above the running backs, even though I like them, Pearsall, I think once draft capital settles, he's going to push up into like the early second round. But he's in that group with Franklin and all those guys. It's basically just pick what you prefer from that wide receiver for fantasy.
All right, then we've got who's up on the board?
It's like interesting because you have a bunch of running backs on the board. Yeah, Matt takes Javon Baker, who's pretty good. I do worry about Javon Baker's upside. Like I think there was a question of it's like him versus Jermaine Burton, and who are you choosing between those guys? Like I think I would just choose Burton just to chase the upside. But yeah,
This
then we
is
get Bo
where
Nix. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, this is where I hope the guy at the 1 or 212 isn't watching and he gives me who I want here. But either way, I think I'm happy. There's 2 players in the top 3 slots that I'm happy with at the 301. I much prefer Marshawn Lloyd here, but if he
Yeah,
takes Marshawn Lloyd, I'm going to go Roman Wilson and just double down on wide receiver. But I'll also
yeah, I
let you
don't.
pause it before after he makes his pick.
Yeah, I'll pause when it's me. I don't think Marshawn Lloyd should be going anywhere near the third round. Like I get it. People are like unsure, but he should be early second round pick. Like he is a good running back. I don't know why people are kind of fading him in this draft. Maybe just kind of is what it is. We had the trio of running backs go here, so it's basically Wright, Allen, Corum, 209, 210, 211. We'll pick and then there goes Jermaine Burton, 212. So we'll be pause really quick.
For me personally, I get it, Superflex. I can't take either of these quarterbacks with the second round pick. I get it. One was really productive. One has a really good arm. I just can't do it. I'm not in on Penix or Nix. Let's see what else we got. So we got the running backs. I think the right running backs, with the exception of Lloyd. I don't like the order of them. As far as receivers, it's kind of getting slim here. So you see, get your own guy. Burton was Debro's guy. Keon Coleman was Pat Fitzmaurice's guy. I like Franklin. You like Pearsall. Javon Baker is also another good one. So it's kind of just become get your guy here. Coach Scouts was torn between Lloyd and Baker. Agree he shouldn't sniff the third round. I'd take Lloyd over a lot of the guys who went in the second. I agree, and that's who I'm going to pick. But before we do, what are your thoughts on the second?
Yeah, I think with these quarterbacks, if they go round one, getting them in second, you should be able to flip them. Even they're going to be starting because they're veterans. Like, they're not going to sit. Like, if you're taking them round one, then you're taking them to play. And I'm not really a big fan of Penix Remix. I much prefer Penix between the two, but this is just value game strategy. Like, you're playing theory with these guys because you're looking to shuffle them.
Do you think that's the thing then, the strategy for the two people who took these quarterbacks? Do you think they're assuming first round draft capital? Because maybe that's the problem for me. I think I get that everyone's saying it's possibly for. I don't look at them as even close to first round picks. I think they're second and third round picks. I think Penix is a second rounder and Nix is a third rounder, and whoever overdrafts them is drafting a bust. And maybe that's for me why I can't comprehend drafting them here. But you assume they're just going first round, and that's why they're taken so high here.
Yeah, it's kind of the Will Levis thing from last year, right? Where we thought he was going to be round one. He went early second. And now he's starting and he's in a good situation. I'm not really a big Will Levis fan. I don't think he's a good quarterback. But even now, like, his value has dramatically increased from this range of picks, right? He's going in that 108 range. So if you play the value game with these quarterbacks right and you can sell them going into year two if they're starting, that's almost a guaranteed profit. So if you want to look at it from that perspective, yeah, like I'm not treating them like guys as long-term bets. I treat them as like short-term bets, especially if I don't like these quarterbacks. I'm like the top quarterbacks, like, May and all those guys. But yeah, we had 5 running backs go in the second round. That's pretty standard. And then it's just a ton of wide receivers. Like we're talking about, pick your wide receivers. And there's still a lot of good wide receivers. Like we have Roman Wilson, Xavier Legette, and then we kind of get into tight ends and stuff. So we're going to kick back off the third round here. Let me type this out.
Yep. And we're going to have another running back go because I have Marshawn Lloyd. I don't know what my last poll or my last ranking set said. I think I've got him at 3. He could be as high as 2. So that's my pick. And then I might round it out with one of each position because there's a couple of tight ends I would like to snag here in the 4th round when it gets back to me. So I might have a balanced build. Gotta love it.
The old rainbow build. Yeah, I like that.
Adam says he believes Penix goes in the top 20. That is certainly the conversation right now. I think it's ridiculous. I am not saying that it's ridiculous that you think it's possible. I think it's possible as well. I think that's a Denver or Las Vegas move because that's a stupid pick in my opinion. That's something one of those franchises would do because that's something a stupid franchise does. I don't think Penix is even close to a first rounder. But you're right. That's probably what they're going to do. Oh, Ben Sinnott. That's the earliest he's gone.
Oh, the juggernaut. Yeah. They must be paying attention to our channel quite a bit.
That's who I wanted. Yeah. That was my 401 if it got back to me.
Yeah, that's a nice pick right there. You can't really argue. I think of the guys outside Bowers, I know we talk about Jatavian Sanders, Jaheim Bell. They all have upside. So that's the guy that's easiest to just plug and play for me. So like I think I'll say that like he's going to get a good role at landing spot situation. And now we did the mock draft the other day where he was in Miami and I was like, all right, I want nothing to do with Sinnott. So obviously he'll be very much landing spot and dependent. So it's interesting here. I really like Shipley of the running backs available, but if I'm going wide receiver, it's Jalen McMillan. He's the guy that I'm clearly higher on. And you're going to notice I just keep drafting my guys at the 106. It's because I like drafting in this spot. I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to take Shipley and take the upside bet of Shipley just because of the guys in this running back range. I think he has the upside to do the PPR role and build off from there in year one, depending on where he lands, because he's a guy that I think is talented. And I know we kind of sleep on him. So
that's funny that you say that because I was just thinking to myself, I was looking and saying, wow, there's tier 1 here that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tier 1 here for me has 5 running backs, and if I don't get a tier 1 running back of Benson, Lloyd, Brooks, Corum, and Wright, I think if I don't get one of the top 4 running backs in this, I don't want it. So there's 4 in tier 1 for me. My tier 2 has Allen, Irving, Shipley, and Estime. That's my tier of don't really want him, but I guess I could take a late dart throw. And then after that, it's ugly. It's like tier of Ray Davis.
Yeah, like I
Isaiah
have
Davis, I
Vidal
don't
kind of
hate.
high.
Kamani Vidal.
Yep,
Dylan
there's a few
Lobby if
guys.
you need a pass catcher. So I have essentially 3 tiers where it's like one tier I really like, one tier if I have to, one tier if I'm gun to my head. But
Yeah. Also, like Blake Watson, the guy who I still don't understand why he didn't get a combine invite because the man's talented, and it's really shocking. Now we have a master tight end run go basically thanks to the computers because those are the highest guys on the board.
I was trying to figure out why computers. That's why. That
Yeah, I don't.
is why Spencer Rattler goes at 309.
Yeah, the Theo Johnson man, like I just don't see it with him. I know JJ has him as his tight end 3, basically playing into the upside. We're gonna pause this here real quick, but I personally don't. I would much rather bet on Jaheim Bell than Theo Johnson, just because man, there's like negative production with Theo Johnson. I'm just not even though he's like a freak athlete. I don't see it on tape, so I'm like, yeah, I can let you guys do that. Now, interestingly enough, like let's hit on 212, which is Jalen Polk. He got like he's getting some hype for round 1 wide receiver. If he goes round 1, where does he move in this? Like, where would you put him on your rankings of the board?
I haven't considered that scenario because I don't think that's very likely. I don't think he goes round 1, so I don't really have an answer for you. If he goes round 1, he becomes a middle of the second round pick.
For sure.
I don't consider that at all. And this is really a weird round for me here. Like, I don't mind. I love Lloyd. I love Roman Wilson. I don't mind the next 5 or 6 picks of Irving, Shipley, Lobby, Leggett, Sadat, Sanders. Those are the guys where I don't love any of them, but I'll take them. Then we get to the realm of the guys that were auto-picked that I don't really believe in. I'm not a Rattler guy. I have Theo Johnson over Jaheim Bell, but that's only because I don't like Jaheim Bell. And then Jalen Polk, I don't really... it really fell off. I know we hit midway through the second round, we hit a cliff. I think midway through the third, we hit the next cliff. So,
yeah, 100%. Like I actually like Polk. He's the clear third Husky wide receiver out of those guys, but I think he's going to be an NFL quality wide receiver. And if we're talking third round range, like getting NFL quality players, like I'm all aboard that. So I'm not super high on Polk. I think he's my wide receiver 12-ish to 14 in that rookie ranks. I don't have him listed right now, but overall, like if I'm getting NFL quality players in the third round, there's always upside potential to sell them for more than you get them at. So like there's a couple guys still on this board that I like in the third, which we can kick it off and hit it back up and see where you start us off from the 3 or 401 because you gone Daniels, Franklin, and Lloyd. So are you going to get your rainbow build or are you going to kind of switch it up?
No, I'm not going to get my rainbow build because the only rainbow left would be Cade Stover, really, who I'm not all that high on. I guess if you want to ignore the position here, I could have gone Johnny Wilson and said he's going to be a tight end. For me, I don't love the options. I considered Estime. I considered Walker.
Rich.
My top 2 choices are between Malachi Corley and the running back I believe I'm going to take in Kamani Vidal.
Yeah, I think in the 4th round getting Vidal, that's like obviously we're unchurched on the draft capital because he's a small school guy, but the guy is promising. He has talent. So
low risk, high reward.
100%. Like it's not going to kill you. If it's a 4th round, it's like whatever. What did it cost me, right? So in this range of the pick, I don't really want floor. I want upside shots because what's floor with 4th round rookie picks? There is none, right? So I'm swinging big out the fences all the time with these guys. That's why Estime goes one who I actually like him. Like I don't think he's super athletic, but the guy can do a lot. I think he can find a role to an NFL team. Gingerbread wanted him. He goes Frank Gore Jr., who I've been kind of raving about, but I don't expect him to get the draft capital, unfortunately. And Johnny Wilson. Yeah, it's just pick your poison here. If I'm going to get my guy at 406, I'll be pretty excited here. We'll see if he gets sniped from me. So we'll see if Bugabaz is watching or not. But personally, like I want Jalen McMillan of all the guys on the board. Like he's the clear guy I have of him. I would have taken him in the 3rd round and possibly late 2nd. That's how
I thought you did take him in the 3rd round.
Otherwise,
no, I would have taken him. I'm not going to lie. I heard you talk about him, and then I forgot you pivoted to Shipley at the last second, or I probably would have taken him. I definitely would have taken him over Polk, but...
Yeah, and then he goes, I mean, Tez Walker, he's not bad. He should get draft capital, right? So, yeah, I'm going to take the guy who I think is closer. Like we were talking about this the other day where he's on the JSN spectrum of Tyler Boyd spectrum of like slot wide receivers. I think he's a lot closer to JSN as Tyler Boyd where he could do more for an NFL offense than just be primarily a slot. And I know I might be a little bullish on him, but with how those slot targets work, like he could be a PPR magnet and like step in immediately and play a role for a team. Obviously, landing spot and all that matters with the quarterback, but I'm going to take the upside bet with McMillan, who I think I have as a top 10 wide receiver in this class. I need to double check that, but I'm pretty sure he's top 10. Yeah, I have him at wide receiver 9 in my rankings. So yeah, I'm very high on him in this class.
I don't know if I have him that high. I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I probably have him as 12, 13, 14 off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I like Jacob Cowing.
Me too. So I like Cowing a lot.
One more pick here. So we see a bit of a run here on the running backs that, are kind of dart throws. Vidal, Estime, Gore Jr. Then we see, I call him a tight end, but Johnny Wilson, the receiver. Then more wide receivers. We have Tez Walker, Jalen McMillan, Malik Washington, and Jacob Cowing, who never goes this late. That people must have finally stopped mentioning Tank Dell when they talk about him, because he seems Isaiah Davis. I see that. Isaiah Davis would probably have been my next pick if we went 5 rounds. We didn't. Cade Stover was who I considered if I wanted to have the rainbow build here for a tight end. Not all that fond of him. I get he didn't do much at Ohio State. It could just be because they were loaded at receiver, but I passed. Joe Milton, I like because he has a cannon arm. Michael Pratt, I thought, is just all around pretty decent. I think he's a backup, but he has potential.
Right.
Kind of a Brock Purdy build, not to overrate him. And then Malachi Corley is who I also considered at the 401. He went 412 to close it out. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Matt said he wanted Isaiah Davis. I think Isaiah Davis is another good pick in this range of the draft. Another solid upside bet. You're hoping he lands in the right situation. He's old as dirt, but like a lot of these players in this class are really old. You kind of just have to accept.
We're only at 22 minutes. Can you extend a 5th round on the fly? Will it let you?
I can try. I don't think I can. Let me see.
Just add a position. Go to roster settings.
I'm trying to.
On the left. Yeah. Add a position and update.
It's tweaking out. Add missing position. Nope, I can't because it's over. It won't let me do it.
I just seen we're only at 22 minutes, so I said, maybe we'll try and squeeze in a 5th round because someone's.
Yeah, it said because we completed, unfortunately, can't have 5th rounds. Yeah, 100%. I'm with you on that. Like Corley at the 412. Obviously, if he gets draft capital, I don't think that's realistically range of outcomes. But like this is the nice part about drafting before, where you see players kind of fall just because people are unsure or uncertain. So you're just taking advantage.
No, so overall, that's not the nice part. That's not. This is why you don't draft before the NFL draft because you don't know. Fucking Dynasty's hard enough to hit on these rookies. Why start making it tougher? Why not just blindly throw darts at this shit? Don't do that.
Hey, I always like doing one rookie draft like that, just where it's basically testing yourself and seeing how good you are at this. But yeah, you can get absolutely nuked playing this way before. It's just super high risk, high reward. Obviously, like we talk about this with guys who like Will Levis, the year before, aka Mr. 101 Superflex draft. Malik Willis, it did not work out for him. So yeah, it's all over the board.
Yeah, it's ugly. So all right. Anything else?
I think we're good. We're starting up. Just thanks for everybody for joining us. We are starting our tomorrow. Are we doing our first Dynasty Diagnostics, aka our roster breakdown of those?
Yeah, we're doing the roster audits tomorrow at noon. I'm gonna post. I'm still working on them right now, but I'm gonna post a link with the first 4 who they are. I'm gonna try and get everyone in the stream who we're doing just so they can answer questions. But we're gonna do 3 days in a row, 4 rosters each day, approximately 15 to 20 minutes each roster. Break them down, and that'll take us into Thursday, where I believe Thursday morning we're going to do I'll look at some of the guys who have the most to lose that night at the draft, and then we start live at 8 o'clock draft night, give or take a few minutes, and that's what we got planned.
And then day 2 we'll be live, and then we'll be hosting just a ton of stuff draft weekend. So we'll have content each and every day. The live draft. We'll recap it on Sunday. We're gonna have sneak peek. We'll have Couch Scouts on with us Sunday nights. We are going to be doing a fun pick your poison, where we debate the rookie picks of the first round, the 101. Who are you taking? Make a case for each of those guys. So we're gonna have them on doing that. It'll be fun next Sunday to do. But yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun guest house with NFL Draft. We'll be doing fun giveaways and all of those things. So check it out, and it'll just be a fun experience. So hopefully y'all can join us on next Thursday and the rest of the week. And yeah, from that, for myself, the missing ghost of Jeremy and SC, Aaron, thank you for joining us. And yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you later in the week.
All right, see you next.